This weekend, we've got Carlos Prates versus Neil Magny in the main event, UFC Vegas 100. Is Carlos Prates the next big thing at welterweight? That's what this video is about. Make sure you check out Slappy's, the best vodka soda in town. You can check them out at Drink Slappy's on Instagram. I think he is, folks. I think he is. He is definitely a nightmare, like his nickname says. And if we look at the screen, we can check him out. He's taking on Neil Magny, and Neil Magny has sort of become the gatekeeper of the UFC welterweight division, despite you folks, or himself actually, not wanting to be known as that. If we look at his past fights, dating all the way back to, heck, I'd say Michael Chiesa days. He lost to Michael Chiesa. He beat Jeff Neal. He beat Max Griffin by split decision. He lost to Shavkat Rakhmonov, beat Daniel Rodriguez. You look at these names. Lost to Gilbert Burns. Obviously, that one was, an interesting one where he beat Daniel Rodriguez, so he stepped up. He fought Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns wasn't necessarily an up-and-comer who needed to step up the rankings. He was already there. But then he took on Phil Rowe. He took on Ian Machado Gary. Took on Michael Morales, and he's bounced between wins and losses over the last several fights. But you look at the names, and they're all typical fighters that are up and coming. Phil Rowe, up and coming fighter. Ian Machado Gary, up and coming fighter. Mike Malott, up and coming fighter. Neil Magny dragged him deep, ended up beating him by ground and pound, and Mike Malott was an up and coming guy who really Canadian MMA has been jumping all over. Michael Morales, another. Yes, he's got a big record, but and he was undefeated at the time, and still beat Neil Magny, a up and coming guy in the UFC. So he's been that gatekeeper. Carlos Prates, the nightmare, 20-6. The record itself doesn't look like he's an up and coming talent in terms of MMA, but he's definitely an up and coming talent inside the octagon. He's 31 years old. He fights with the Fighting Nerds. He sometimes wears those glasses inside the cage. They're a big team these days. They're doing huge things. And he's 3-0 inside the octagon. He won once on the Contender Series against Mitch Ramirez. Second round straight left finish to earn his spot inside the octagon. And then went on to do utter destruction. Round 2, straight left against Trevin Giles. Big victory. The next one, knee to the body in the first round against Charles Radke. And then, most recently, in August of this year, a left hook knockout in the second round at UFC 305. A big showing for Carlos Prates against Jiang Li. What a fighter. He gets inside the cage, and as it shows up here, 15 wins by knockout or TKO, 3 wins by submission, and 2 wins by decision. Yes, he's 20 victories in the freaking MMA world, and 18 of those have come by stoppage. He needs to get the job done in this one against Neil Magny and can definitely push his name up the ladder. I believe he is the real deal. I believe he will get the job done in this fight. Is he the next contender in the welterweight division? Not completely sure, but he's an up-and-coming talent inside the octagon that people need to be aware of. Let me know in the comment section below how you think this fight will play out between Carlos Prates and Neil Magny, because I think the Brazilian is going to put on an utter show. I got the mustache for Movember, so check out the description below. I've got a Movember donation page. Make sure you click on that and support men's health awareness. Again, check out Slappy's, the best vodka soda in town, at Drink Slappy's on Instagram. Make sure you follow MMA Sucka on all social media platforms in the description below. Make sure you check out UFC tomorrow night, Saturday, Neil Magny against Carlos Prates, who could be the next star in the welterweight division.